in sacrificing. If you're not able to sacrifice, I don't think your marriage would hold.
Okay.
Sacrificing in marriage also doesn't mean one forgetting about his own personal needs entirely.
Okay.
But it's prioritizing your partner's needs and happiness over one's personal self.
Really?
Yes. So sacrifices in marriage entails devotion, prioritizing, and then giving out love and respect to your partner.
Okay. So what are the common sacrifices couple make in marriages, and why are they important?
I would want to categorize them into three main subjects. Sacrifices in marriage can be in any form, but if you break it down into three categories, it makes it easier to explain.
Okay.
We have the personal sacrifices, we have the emotional sacrifices, and then we have the financial sacrifices.
Okay.
Underneath the personal sacrifices, that's where we have time. You can sacrifice your time to your spouse or to the marriage or to the partnership. This is very, very important because supposing you're single, you have all the time in the world. But because you are in a union, you have a partner, you have to devote your time. So you share quality time with her or him, and then the family. It strengthens trust and unity amongst relationships.
Okay.
Apart from that, we have career. We have certain people who can even have career opportunities. They let go these opportunities just because they want to be with their spouses. Some of them also have to carry on with their spouses, maybe travel all the way to hinterlands or abroad just to be with their partner because they are in a relationship with them. And that's one form of sacrifice as well.
Okay.
Then we have the financial aspect of sacrifice in marriage. When we come to that aspect, this is where you prioritize how to spend money. Most people think because they earn money, they have all the say when it comes to spending it.
Okay.
But then it is always better to communicate with your spouse. There should be an equilibrium. There should be an understanding between both of you how you prioritize spending the finance so that at least the family or the relationship wouldn't be handicapped when it comes to budgeting or taking care of the kids or looking out for other important things that might inure or to the betterment of the relationship. Good. Apart from that, we also have sacrificing one's job or one's family relationships. You know, sacrificing in marriages normally comes with independence and interdependence. When you talk about independence, when you are single, you are alone. So you always have your leeway to do what you have. But immediately you come into marriage,
you have to
prioritize how you have to share. You see, it becomes interdependent. So that whatever you're doing, you think about your spouse or the other party.
Okay.
All right. Some people also have hobbies and talents and whatever that they have to let go, because if you always have to move out to go and pursue your personal goals and aspirations, then possibly you might be forgoing what you need to do.
Don't you think that if you have your personal hobby and your spouse is not interested in that same hobby, you have the chance to lure her into loving it by explaining things to her so that the two of you can be able to enjoy that hobby together? Maybe you do golf, you tell her things about golfing, and then maybe you encourage your wife or your husband.
That's true.
So that he or she may get interest. Me, for one, I don't understand the rules of golf.
That's
All I
right.
can say is they take their stick, they hit.
The club.
But yes, but I know there are some rules governing. Yes, so if I get someone who will teach me and make me understand, I think I'll be glad. So don't you also think that it will be, if it comes to hobby wise, you are to convince your spouse, then the two of you can enjoy it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Exactly. You see, sacrificing in marriages, as me giving you these pointers, doesn't really mean necessarily mean foregoing your desires. You see, it's the way you communicate. As you're saying, if you are able to communicate properly with your spouse and possibly explain to her, because there should be limits to sacrifices. Definitely, you can't sacrifice so much to the detriment of your own well-being. You also have to take care of yourself. With this hobby issue that you're talking about, it is perfect. Yes, if you can explain to her, possibly if she doesn't want it, definitely, or he doesn't want it, he wouldn't be interested anyway. You could explain anyhow, but then because he doesn't want it, but in that case, he or she might give you the permission to, okay, you can do it once a week or twice a week. You get me? That one, he or she is giving you some ample space, because sacrifices need space as well. You need your space. That doesn't mean every time you have to be boxed up with your spouse. You need your space, your time to also reflect.
Exactly.
And it makes it more interesting. It doesn't have to be one-sided. Yeah.
Does it mean how can communication help when it comes to sacrifices in marriage?
Wonderful. The communication issue here is very, very important, because as we started by saying with these hobbies, if you are not able to talk on a day-to-day basis, you have to know what your spouse is thinking about, his ambitions, her ambitions, what he thinks. Because in today's marriage, it's not like times of old, where everything was being ordered or commanded by the husband, or that sort of thing. There is no written script today. Today's marriages is between respect. I'm saying it's based on respect and mutual understanding.
Some are based on telenovela.
Well, we have that kind of nuisance now. The today's marriages that we see is quite of egalitarian sort of thing, where people really are very educated and very vocal. Yeah, it isn't like times of old where yes, you wouldn't have a say, or the lady wouldn't have a say. You see, the things have changed, times have changed. So if we're talking about today's marriages, it's not like times of old where women especially were given, or
they were restricted. And
yes, though they were expected to do much of the sacrifice, i.e. they have to bear children, take care of them, cook the house, wash everything. In today's marriages, no way. It's a shared responsibility. You see the men, some of the men even going as far as taking care of the kids at home, whilst the lady
going for shopping.
The men go for shopping. Yes, they go. They also do go for shopping. You get me? And these ladies, you see ladies too. In today's marriages, you see ladies very much educated, if I should use that word. They are aware about gender equality. They are aware about the girl child, especially, has really helped us. So they know, they are aware of themselves.
They know their rights.
They know their rights. So it makes it more egalitarian, where the both parties share common responsibilities, unlike times of old. So you're right. If we have to communicate for a peaceful harmony to come into the relationship, it is a key component.
And does it help reduce the burden of sacrificing? Communication?
It does immensely. Because as I said initially, If you are not able to communicate properly, you might be seen as an authoritarian person. That is, you taking decisions that your other half might not know.
Want or interested in.
That is the point. So this is where we have to be careful.
So in all aspects of family and marriage, communication is the key, right?
It is. It is really the key.
Okay, but you know, there are some couple that they can't chat like we are doing, but they can chat with someone on WhatsApp and other digital platforms, and the wife is sitting here, the husband is sitting here, and they are both chatting with different people at the same time, and you see them giggling and stuff. What's your take on that? Because when it comes to marriage, like you said, communication is the key. So a husband and wife is supposed to talk or communicate something once. Some won't even ask their husbands or their wives how your day went at work, blah blah blah. What do you have your plans for the weekend and stuff? Is it normal, or that is the day we find ourselves in now in Ghana?
Well, thank you. Yes, this is a very problematic issue. You see, in the advent of social media, rolling up to today's marriages, it's something else. It's unlike before, where we didn't have these sort of interferences, if I should use the word, because there are positives and negatives to it. Just as you're saying, we find so many marriages crumbling because of this. When we started up as a couple, if I use my own self, or my father even, because I saw them, my father and my mother together, they had time for each other.
Okay.
They never had the problem of one being engaged in anything apart from sitting down with him in the sitting room, and they talking about their own selves, the household, and all that. I mean, that's the nuclear, the traditional.
Oh, during that time, it was only GTV Pearl.
You're right. Yes, you're right.
But now we have a lot of TV stations too.
You see, it's even interesting. It makes it more interesting. Why am I saying this? Because the advent of the influx of several channels on TV makes it more interesting, if I should say that. But that doesn't negate the fact that when our parents were seated, and even if it was even one or two channels, they could still communicate whilst watching Osofodazis and all that.
Predicting what will happen.
They were conversing. Unlike today, where social media takes all the attention from you, because you're communicating with a ghost, if I should use that word, a phantom friend or something.
AI
and all that. In that case, it makes it more problematic.
Okay.
You see, and then you get carried away because it's so addictive. It becomes so addictive. Supposing your husband or your wife wants to even have a discussion, a very deep conversation with you, you find yourself being swayed away gradually by a WhatsApp message call or by Facebook chat somewhere that draws your attention. That is not very healthy when it comes to marriages or communication in marriages. So I wouldn't give that a thumbs up when it comes to communicating. It is always better for your partner to be a friend. If your partner is a friend, nothing surpasses that. Love transcends all marriages. You know, marriages are based on love, trust, and respect. Love is the greatest gift of all. So supposing you come back from work and your wife is able to ask you even, how was your day? It gives a soothing... Yes, it gives you a soothing, calmness, yes, that's it. And then from there, you can find out that if it's the man, if it's the husband, he can open up. See, he feels there is trust. The wife trusts him so much, and he opens up truthfully and tells her how the day went. It makes relationship so nice and very good.
Have you sacrificed for your marriage?
I have been married since the year 2000.
Oh, wow.
Luckily I did mine at the same church that I fellowship. And yes, I would say I have sacrificed so much. I am married with my wife, Naa Oforiwaa Pels. We have one daughter, Belinda. We tried others and we never got it. So we are content with the one.
Oh, it will come.
Yes. We are trying. We are still in the union. She's such a strong force behind my success. And I think, yes, I have sacrificed. At the moment, she's a bit incapacitated. And that makes me more...
the sacrificial lamb?
No, it makes me more... I have the opportunity or the trump card to discuss sacrifice. Because I think I'm doing a lot for her, just as she's done for me.
So can you share your experience with us? How was it?
Okay. I will just be brief because she had a surgery. She used to have a knee problem because of weight a little bit.
Oh, she's like me, eh?
Well, very pretty and beautiful like you.
Ah,
yes.
Thank you.
She had problems with the joints, so she had to do a corrective surgery, which our doctors here at the Ridge did a fantastic job on her. I really appreciate their services. So after a week or two at the hospital, she was discharged. I had to pick her up. I was always by her bedside anyway. I had to pick her up and then do the post-surgery nursing at home. And that's what I'm doing. She can't walk. She can't step on the leg. So
for now,
so I have to do all that for her.
Oh, so you're now a caregiver.
Wonderful.
That's nice.
And even to the extent of feeding her. Not like putting it there, but then cooking.
You cook, yeah.
I do cook.
Since she can't stand on her legs.
That's true, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's reciprocal.
That's right, yes.
So if you just join us, this is Family Life on Atwa TV. And the topic for discussion is sacrifices in marriage. My guest is Uncle Eko Parko Clifford Realm. Yes, he's coming from the St. George's Garrisons at Birmingham. He is a member of the Anglican Men's Fellowship. Uncle Eko, you see there are some sacrifices that are the extreme. Let's take it that your spouse is suffering from a chronic kidney disease and it needs a transplant. Do you think, we are Ghanaians, so let me talk about Ghana. You think a spouse is willing to donate his or her kidney for the other half to live, unlike the Caucasians who are, a mother-in-law can even volunteer, check me out, if I'm a match to him, I will dedicate my kidney. Do you think we still have those such thing in Ghana? Do we have such sacrifices being done in Ghana?
Yes, I would say yes and no. Well, that subject of, let's say, terminal illness, or let's say being handicapped, is also part of sacrifice. It falls within the ambience of sacrifices in marriage. Supposing you are in a union or a partnership with someone and he or she fell in that category. It depends on how well and how good the both of you
the relationship.
If I say
how cordial,
how reciprocal, how understanding, you see, that the two have. This would lead for someone to suggest giving you maybe one of his organs, because we know kidneys are two, and one is enough for anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is it's a very big sacrifice. I wouldn't call that an ordinary sacrifice, because letting out one part of your body organ just to save a spouse is quite divine. I mean, you need the intervention of God, all right, and this is where prayers and all that comes in there. If you ask me if it's still happening, I will tell you yes. I have a personal experience. If I say personal, a family personal experience, yes. I have one auntie who had this issue way back in the 80s. And she happened to be, even in the States, where it's more...
common.
Yes, common. It's something, it's a common practice. What happened was, after a lot of discussion within the family, it was suggested that his kid brother go out there to donate it for her, donate a kidney for her. It wasn't enforced. It wasn't, I mean, coerced or anything. It was just a family union. We came together, we sat down, we discussed, and he volunteered to do that for her.
No one was willing to.
No, we couldn't get a donor. We couldn't get
a match.
A match, yeah. So it was becoming an issue. So they tried, they tested him, and he was compatible with her. So he went and then he donated it. That wasn't her spouse or his wife or the husband, but he went in there and then did that for her because of sibling love. That is also another topic. But then I can tell you, it's a
huge sacrifice.
It's a huge sacrifice. Yes. As of today, my auntie is still alive because of that. And he is still alive. And he is also alive.
Quite recently, 2 women dedicated one of their kidneys to their house and their husband. The surgery was done at Kolebu.
Yes, we have.
And it was a success.
Yes, we have very.
That was the first time of me hearing a lady says giving out her kidney to the spouse in Ghana here.
Wonderful.
Yes, so it's a huge sacrifice they really made.
That's it.
But you see, when it comes to sacrifices in marriage, we think about the lady taking up all the responsibilities in the house, paying utilities, paying school fees, feeding, clothing, everything. The man just leaves it on the woman. He may take care of housing. As in, I'm the one paying the rent. Can't you do the rest? Sort of. So you see, our mothers out there struggling to make ends meet and then make sure their children are at a certain stage in life. That is what we mostly think is a sacrifice. But talking to you so far, it entails a lot. Sacrifices really entails a lot, and I'm really being impressed. To the next topic, to the next question is, how can I support my partner in sacrificing for our relationship?
Good. You see, sacrificing in any relationship is based on trust and respect. If you really do respect your partner, okay, or if you trust your partner, it comes naturally. Okay. It's never coerced, if I should use the word coerced, because some people think sacrificing means martyrdom.
Okay.
They think if you sacrifice, then it means you are a weakling or something like that. In today's world that we live in, or in today's relationship, it used to be what you said. I mean, one-sided. And then now, because of equality, gender equality and all that, it's become sort of a tussle, a challenge, which shouldn't be the case anyway. Because if you understand each other, it wouldn't be a problem for the both of you. The lady becomes a career person equally as the man. Both of you can share the light bill, the rent, the whatever. It used to be a thing of the old. Some people are practicing it now, which I can agree.
And do you agree to it?
I don't. Because I am of the old school, if I should use that word. I believe in fighting and then going out there and then fending for my family. which is the best practice that I learned from my dad anyway. So I wouldn't fall in that category. But I've heard people go out there, and ladies especially, paying their children's school fees, paying the rent of the house. The man only comes in there, eats what is on the table, and even doesn't ask how did it come there.
And they even have a choice. Why did you give me one
That's
meal?
right. That's right. Yes.
I didn't want to eat this.
Yes, that is really appalling. I mean, it's not acceptable. I pray that those in that brackets might have a change of heart, because we are in the modern world, so we should all endeavor to increase our love, our trust, and our thinking about how marriages should work.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you asked me a question about if it is the best practice ever for men to feel superior, or ladies should feel they should do all the work. That can't be the normal practice in any relationship. You see, we have misconceptions about sacrifices in marriage. Some of it is just what we are talking about. When you sacrifice, that it doesn't mean you are a weak person. The lady wakes up 3 a.m., goes to the market, sells till 10 p.m., comes home, and you think she's weak? No, she is not. She is only being
a supportive wife.
Thank you. You see, she sees forward. She wants the relationship to last, so she's also supporting the relationship, and all these things comes together to build a very strong and lasting relationship. It strengthens your marriage. You get me? So sacrifices in marriage really is the fundamental stone that any relationship can be built upon.
Do some men appreciate the sacrifices their wife has done for them and still doing for them, or they are being ungrateful? Because there may be in an instant that the man has lost his job, and unemployment issues in Ghana is quite high. So the lady may say, okay, since you are home, I will take care of the family for now, so that when you stand on your feet, you do same for us. Some may get back on their feet but still refuse to take out the responsibilities because they know their wives are capable of doing it. What is your take on that?
Yes, gratitude, even it's being spelled in the Bible clearly, but gratification and gratitude go hand in hand. Any good deed done to you must be gratified. If you are in a relationship and you don't know how to say thank you, if you don't appreciate what your spouse does to strengthen the relationship, then I think you don't have no business being in that relationship.
Okay.
Yes. In the instance that you just gave us, where a man loses his job or a lady loses her job, it behoves on the two. And this is where I come in by saying communication. If the both of you have an understanding and you have a good way of communicating, then it becomes easier for that party who has been deprived of income, because finance is a key component of sacrifice. Some women even earn more than their husbands.
Yes.
But then they wouldn't give it out as well. They might think, well, I earned it. I would want to go take care of the extended family. That is what some ladies are saying today. It is all something that you have to be a balancing act. You should know, I'm not saying you don't need to take care of your extended family. It should be a balancing act whereby you don't deprive the household or the relationship of what is due.
In some tribes, they take care of their nephews and nieces more than their own kids. If I may say, me wafa cinema, me wafa cinema. They neglect their own responsibilities and they make a sacrifices rather for their wafa cinema. And at the end of the day, when you are old, it is the same kids you neglected quite young, the ones who are going to take care of you. Is it logic?
Well, that you have a very strong advocacy there. It is not. It used to be the traditional sort of sacrifice that we used to have. You know, that's what I'm saying. It has been a change from the old school to the new school now. In today's world, you can't always depend on the old traditional marriage sacrifices that we used to have, whereby in the Akan tribe, we used to have wafase and that kind of thing. And in today's world, it behoves of any couple to be very exact and then take care of what your offspring is that you bring. That's why I came in to say that there is enlightenment. I'm not saying our mothers of old weren't enlightened, no. But what I was saying was there were a set of rules that were governing marriages in the past. In today's world, it is not so. It is a shared set of rules. Okay. So definitely the wife might tell you, look, we have to take Kofi to this particular school because he is the eldest. Kojo would have to follow in this vein. If you want to bring in your nephew, no problem. Let's find out the financial burden. If it's not going to affect the relationship, we take it up. If it's going to affect, let's finish one thing first and then we fall on the other. It is not logic for any man or woman to think I have to take care of my nephew or nieces first to the detriment of
My kids.
what you have brought out into the world. Okay. I think it's a no-no.
So do you think it's a good thing for us to go back to the days of old, how our parents share responsibilities and stuff? Fine, you will still take care of your nephews and nieces, but once in a while, when the parent can't do one or two things for their kid, then they fall on you. You do it, but not by your own power. You have to discuss it with your wife.
Spouse. Yeah,
yes,
that's right.
So do you think it is perfect, or the advice you give us, the Indomie generations now, that should we go back to the days of old and take back what we've left behind, polish it a bit and move forward with it?
Wonderful. I think that is perfect. I'm always of the view that what was in the past was the best. Because in today's world that we live in, everything seems artificial. Yes, everything almost seems artificial.
But we live in the time of AI.
Wonderful. That nobody disputes that fact. But the mere fact that you might think, I don't want to take care of my nephew or my niece because it becomes individualism. You see, it becomes something like selfishness. You have a nephew sitting somewhere, very brilliant, very brainy, but then deprived. He couldn't have the financial what do you call it? So a resource, yes, to further his or her education. So you discuss with your wife. If she agrees, fine. If she doesn't, you don't push it. So, as you said, blending the old and the new will make it perfect for us. But neglecting the old, and because I hear certain people saying our mothers were not educated, Bejimibre, that sort of thing, which I detest so much. Our mothers were very clever. They did a good job on us.
They didn't go to school, but they were very good in
Thank you, my dear. They were very, very, what do you call it, innovative and all that, you see. So blending the two might make it better. If we have to neglect the old and think the new is all that we have to incorporate, then maybe we are heading for trouble. You can look at the statistics when it comes to relationships and the breakups that we have. You see, it tells you what is going on. Certain things are not being done right. Even the perceptions that we take into relationships is changing, and it's changing so fast. It's becoming AI, as you say.
Yes, it's becoming AI.
See, but then the human IQ or the human intellect surpasses AI in any way. We have certain qualities that the AI or the today's computer babies, the Indomie babies, can't really challenge. You see, that is my point. I can add to it.
Okay. What are the healthy boundaries that we can take to maintain a healthy marriage when it comes to sacrificing?
When it comes to sacrificing in marriage, there are key points that we have to look at. Whilst giving out sacrifices to your partner, you are also building your own trust. You are building a bond between the two of you. That's a plus for you.
Making the foundation of the relationship very solid.
Solid. And you see, I don't think anybody goes into a relationship thinking, in the next 2 weeks, I want to fall out and then try another one. In parentheses, if I should say this. Any serious-minded, God-fearing person who goes into a partnership or a relationship wants a lasting relation. And sacrificing becomes a foundation. It's a basis for you to stay in there. It gives the relationship that longevity that is needed. Because as I am giving you care, as I am giving you the financial support, the emotional support, the giving you my time, my space, I am building some bond between the two of us. That becomes very difficult if I'm not around you or if you are not around me.
Oh, yes.
So it becomes a plus for you. Apart from that, we teach ourselves every day in marriages and relationships. As the saying goes, knowledge is not in one person's head, or acumen. So as we sit, we go day by day. You see, sacrifices is not just giving out one time. It is a daily affair.
A continuation.
It's a continuation, yes. As we go day by day, then we are learning from ourselves as well. Because if I should use myself as an example, there are certain things that I didn't know. When I was alone, I used to behave as a single boy or a single man. But getting a woman around you in a relationship and you proposing or prioritizing her needs, her happiness over your personal desires, it becomes just like you. It becomes just like, it's like me.
You see, the Bible says that the two shall become one.
Well, yes. That's a fact. So you might not want her to leave. So there are positives in sacrificing, especially where marriage is concerned. And apart from I've mentioned the bond, the longevity, the emotional support. We have benefits, like if you have to, your progeny, if you have to procreate, maybe you sit down, you discuss, then you have a generation that might take up from you when you are old and gone. It really projects your worth. For one, I sit here and I'm so proud of my dad and my mom because they brought me up, and they really did take care of us, because in our time it was the strict kind of.
How many siblings did you have?
11.
What?
Yes, 11. Yes.
And your number?
Yeah, 7. Sorry.
Your number?
I'm somewhere within 6, the 6th and 7th.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have elders and I have kids as well behind me.
That's great.
Yes, it used to be a big family. Anybody who knew us at the military barracks knew. Major Viram was a different person. He was a military officer, though.
Oh, okay.
He looks very strict, but then he had a very kind heart.
11?
Yes.
With one woman?
No.
Uh-huh.
No, in that case, That would be for another topic, but then not with one woman. But he had
Wow.
all his kids with him.
Oh,
He
wow.
nurtured all 11
In one house.
in one house. So
That's
we were all
nice.
under one roof. Yeah.
So will you say that it is currently it is because of our level of education? That's the reason why things are not going on well when it comes to sacrifices. I know my rights. I earn more than you. Blah blah blah. You see, someone may marry a well-educated woman. May marry sorry, excuse my language. A carpenter or a mason. That is where she found peace of mind
Good.
and her happiness.
Good, yeah.
But you know, in times we were like, you can't talk to me like that. Mako school saying, "Oh, maybe."
Right.
Do you think, okay, currently what the Jay-Z's and the Indomie generations are experiencing in their marriages that they don't want to do some sacrifices one way or the other? Could it be over sabi that is making us do that?
Well, we have some nuances when it comes to sacrifices in marriages. People have a misconception about sacrifices in marriage. People think being educated or coming from a wealthy home or being very beautiful to some extent gives one a leverage or an edge over the spouse. All these things are encompassed. I see they fall under the category of what I mean when I talk about today's sort of perceived marriage or relationships. They aren't the best. If you think you are more educated than your spouse, especially, I don't want to fall into a trap here, especially where the feminists they have their own way of argument. But I'll be very careful to tread the line. You see, I am not on that part when I would have a spouse, a lady spouse, who can tell me in my face that I am more enlightened than you or educated than you, so I can't be doing this, you have to do that. I wasn't brought up that way. It wouldn't happen on my watch. But then, if you find yourself in that category, then possibly in this part of our world, you might have issues. I have an example. My next door neighbor are expatriates. They are Germans. The lady is an executive secretary, very well educated. The husband is a plumber. Yes, he is a plumber. But then they've been married for all these years. They come for holidays, they go, they live together. They have no issue. You see, traditional and cultural practices have also crept. They've really crept into our way of thinking and the perception that we have about marriage and sacrifices. So it becomes very murky, very dynamic if you're discussing that topic of today. You say, people think they can use their positions, their family names and all that to go into relationships. And that is where they are having problems. So I don't believe in that sort of ideology. If you think you are much educated, then wait till you have somebody who is equal to your standards and then go into that relationship with him or her, so that at least you can have a balance there. It's always about balance. Relationship is balance. If you can't balance, then it becomes subsided, all right? And then one side feels very marginalized.
So that's the cause of major marriage.
I can be positive about that.
Okay.
I can be positive about that.
So we take a quick commercial break. When we come back, family life still continues. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Announcements on Adwa TV. Contact Adwa TV for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092 57754 020 9494 258 or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adwa TV, bringing good things to life. Announcements on Adwa TV. Contact Adwa TV for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092 57754 020 9494 258 or visit our marketing desk at Stepwork premises. Adwa TV, bringing good things to life.
Ghana punto hia me Ghana punto hia Ghana punto hia nyina frisa Ghana yaman na so man yi be yesu a gina me ene wo so the santi no ye koso e wo krom wo potamu empo wo fitira e twi o man yi san na emwa ye punto no e yasem hia wo se ye hwe na ye ka ye se wan ka se tiri hu a ye yi wo ibone the santi hia me wasem hia e di ka dwumadi so na ye hwen kan sem hia bi a e di o man yi nya e fa enwuma sua ho apomodin ahonidie adwuma ene apadie nsam ho yaman yanhwe mane sei sansensei ya yatimbi one Ghana, that is all we have. If it is present, you will talk about it right here on the show. Your friend Kusi Francis and I am the Chairman Junior.
Come back, and this is still Family Life with yours truly, the head mistress of Adwa TV, Naa Oforiwaa Pels. You can also call me Yoefia Hengo. The topic for discussion today is sacrifices in marriage, and During the questioning and the answering and everything, some is Uncle Parker Clifford Realm. He is the member of the Anglican Men Fellowship at the St. George's Garrisons at Birmingham. Welcome back, Uncle.
Thank you, Naa. Thank you so much.
On a follow-up question, I wanted to ask, let's continue. Is there a difference between sacrifice and submission? If someone is being submissive, is there a difference between sacrifice and submission?
Well, yes. The two words are parallel. I mean, they are different. They can't be the same. There are differences between them. But when it comes to marriage, if we have to juxtapose the two in the context of sacrificing in marriage, then it seems the other one, which is submission, doesn't come in at all. Because the idea about sacrificing, it's a choice. It is not, it's a give and take. I mean, what you put in is what you get out. It is not just as the scripture says, you give a woman one corn, or you give her a condo, she makes a meal for you. All right? You sow a seed, she gives you an offspring. You get me? I mean, it's something straightforward. It comes out of the scriptures. So if we have to talk about the two, I would say sacrifice is divine. I mean, it's your choice. It's a choice that you make. Being submissive doesn't come anywhere towards sacrificing. No, I don't see that as coming in there, because being subservient, it's a quality of anybody. You have to be, if you respect somebody, if you trust somebody, if you love somebody, it comes naturally. I heard during my Sunday school times that wife should be submissive to the husband should love the woman as Jesus Christ loved us all. I mean, these are straightforward rules that were given to us from the scriptures. So being submissive doesn't mean one becomes weak or one becomes an underdog. It is a quality that most women have. It comes naturally because of the love that they want or the love that they endure in a relationship. I have seen very, I would say, socially inclined women who in the public's eye are so high placed, but then when you go to them in their homes, when you meet them with their families, their spouses, how they talk to their husbands, how they talk to their children, you would marvel, you would just embrace it, you would just love it, because they have an inbuilt mechanism that gives them that peace of mind, humbleness, humility. But then don't take that to be a weakness. They are very strong. We know some of them. No need to mention names, but we know some of them, and we admire them. It's a quality that makes any man proud of who he partners. If a wife is submissive, if a wife has that quality, it's a plus for the husband, because it makes the man comfortable. It makes the man do more to secure, to make her comfortable, to make her happy. And that is a plus for a marriage.
So between the days of old and our current marriage, which one had more sacrifice and submissiveness in it? Is it the days of old or the Jay-Z?
Certainly, I don't need to tell you. I think it's the days of old. In today's marriages, most of our ladies, most of our children are sort of a bit feisty, if I should use that word. You see, there is a lot of interferences these days. Sorry, in the days of old, our moms weren't having WhatsApps and Jay-Z's and all those kind
Gen
of...
Z's.
Yeah, Gen Z's. Okay, Gen Z's and all that. Because they were only looking at traditional, cultural and practices. They were listening to folklores, high lives and all that. Today we are listening to techno. They are listening to... You can mention the name. Music that you wouldn't even dream about. I mean, you can't understand.
Uncle Bako, you see, women are being abused in their marriages, physically, emotionally, psychologically.
Wonderful, yes.
And they are still there.
Yes.
They sacrifice not just for their marriages, but they think, they get to think more about what society is going to say if she is to divorce the husband or the wife due to the abuse that he or she is receiving. Some will even say that because of my kids, it's because of my kids. So is it a good thing, especially as women? Maybe you're in an abusive marriage whereby your husband hits you, embarrasses you publicly and the rest. Is that not another form of sacrifice?
No way. Please. No, I wouldn't say it's a
How
form.
will you term that one?
That is an abusive. It's abusive. It's a crime. Trust me. You see, there are so many misconceptions when it comes to, there are myths. I'll call them myths when it comes to sacrifices in marriage or a relationship. You see, as we started, we've spoken about the tenets of sacrifice. If you are in a relationship, in an abusive relationship, and you think because of the kids, you have to endure, you are not sacrificing. You are putting yourself in harm's way. It has to be addressed. And first of all, let's discuss why you should even be in such a relationship. You see, if the two of you, before you came into any relationship, there should be a foundation. And that is love. You went into that relationship because you trusted the fella or the fellow. You trusted, you really loved the person. Now it's gotten this way. Of course, times change. People change. They do change. But you don't change for the worse. I wouldn't call that sacrificing. In the days of old, that's what the young ladies are saying to us now. And that's what they are. And I think somehow, in parentheses, they are right. Our mothers used to say the same thing. That, because of the children, I have to endure. I have to endure. But for me, I don't think it was sacrificing. It was for a purpose. You see, the myths about sacrificing are very varied. And it stems from cultural beliefs, traditional beliefs, and the way people were brought up. I mean, some people weren't brought up to endure such humiliating, I would say, humiliating sort of attitude coming from a spouse. It's always better to respect whoever you are with. It is always better to communicate whatever that is going through.
So how do I even say this word? You see, when you are a divorcee, we try to stigmatize you. Society will stigmatize you.
That is
your
it.
family, your church, your friends. You going through an abusive relationship, and you get to a point you said, okay, I'm done. I won't take this anymore. My children, I will go with them. I'm leaving this marriage by hook or by crook. We are sometimes scared of what society is going to say. You're a divorcee. When married people are talking, don't talk. Do you think it's one of the contributing factors that makes some women to keep enduring this kind of abuse?
Yes, you're right. Definitely, you have a point there. You see, we have societal norms that are not the best, if I should use that. And this is one of them. The first one you brought up was also one of them. Because of my kids, I have to be in an abusive marriage. The second one is what you just said. That people might perceive, you're not worthy enough to go into matrimony, so you can't advise me or you can't talk to me. I mean, the stigma attached to divorcing and all that. So if you have such a, let's say, load on your head, must you have to sit in a relationship for you to be abused? Abusing, whichever way, is wrong for me. I believe we don't have to think enduring an abusive relationship has anything to do with sacrificing. I don't believe that. Because sacrificing is a give and take affair, as we said. You see, it's like, it's reciprocal. It's what you put in. So if I haven't put in abusiveness, why do I have to get that back? Then you know you're in a wrong relationship. You have to beat it.
You know, there are some people, a guy can be in a relationship for like 5 years. He wants to marry the lady, but the lady will tell you, I want to go to school. Let me upgrade myself. I am building a career. Making the man not childless per se, but age is not on anyone's side.
Of course, yes.
You understand? You know, sometimes you can be schooling and be a married woman or a responsible wife at the same time. Why do you think we women like to do that? Or some guy in a relationship will tell you, oh, let me build my career small. Is it a waste of time on both sides? Is that part of sacrifices?
Well, yes, it falls within the ambience of sacrificing. Because as we started, you know, sacrificing is the way you communicate, the both of you. And putting up one's career opportunities, putting out or putting it off for a while, it's a form of sacrificing in a relationship. Supposing, yes, we are able to sit and communicate or talk things over. That, look, I need a raise, or I need a position in an institution. So I am obliged to do so and so and upgrade myself. And my wife really understands what I'm saying and sides with me. It is always better to upgrade oneself. As a human being, we are all dynamic. We need to improve upon our lives. So definitely, if you discuss it with your wife and she agrees with you, or if you discuss it with your husband and he agrees with you, there is nothing wrong with that. And trust me, that is part of sacrificing in marriage or relationships. But then, if you are not communicating properly, if the both of you don't see eye to eye, maybe you just sneaked out of her or him to do a course without telling him or her, then it becomes a problem when she finds out. Because then why aren't we discussing? Or why wouldn't I also, when I had the opportunity, I didn't do it? You see? So it's all about communication.
It's all about communication. You know, at what point in the relationship must one show the quality of sacrifices in him or her? You know, most of us pretend when we are in a relationship, we want to look all perfect and such. Should one continue be in a relationship if the other partner is not sacrificing enough to the extent that they shouldn't even continue in getting married? You know, we pretend a lot as human.
Yeah.
So at what point should it raise an eyebrow that, oh, this one is not sacrificing for me? And so some may also be sacrificing for you, but when you end up in marriage with them, it's another story altogether. At what point in the relationship, when two people are courting, At what point in time must you know this person is a sacrificial person for me?
That's a very good question. You know, when it comes to marriage, I always attribute divinity to it. You see, nobody is an expert in marriage. Nobody has. There is no clear-cut. What do you call it? Textbook.
No, the only institution you get your certificate before you start that course.
That's right. Yeah. So the question is very dynamic. Human beings are very, very, very dynamic, diverse. You can have a fiancé, very lovely, very kind, very all the accolades. You start courtship while being in a relationship with him or her. It gets to the point where you tie the knot together and then things change. And that's the dynamism of any human being. I mean, it comes with upbringing. It comes with all the things that we know about character. And if, from your question, if you are in a relationship, you also have to use your head as well. You have to be very smart. In this vein, within this context that we are discussing, if you are in a relationship, I'm not saying be smart, but I'm saying you have to be wise enough to see the signs. You have to pray a lot for revelation, for grace, and for peace of mind. As I started, there is no guarantees. It is how the both of you nurture the relationship. That is what you get in the end. The only criteria or the fundamentals that can be given to you is love, respect, mutual understanding, and trust. If you are able to hold on, if you have the faith to hold on to these tenets, then whatever comes, even in future, you might have to take it as your cross.
But you know, some really do pretend.
Pretenses is everywhere, of course. But the only institution that I always believe, when I speak with my friends, we discuss, is you can't pretend to love somebody.
No, you can't.
No, you can pretend for a while, but it comes out naturally.
Okay.
Love is something that grows. You nurture it, it grows. So if you're pretending to love somebody because of what might come out of it or because of your own selfish needs, then it becomes something else. For me, my understanding of love is quite different from a lot of today's folks. I believe you don't need to love just for the sake of love. You have to be wise, as I use the word wise. And you have to be prayerful. You see? So if you are in a relationship where the other party is a fraud or pretends to be who he is not or she is not, then you are in for trouble. Definitely, you can't sacrifice for such a person.
How can we navigate our way through sacrifices in marriage?
Sacrifices in marriage is the bedrock. It's the fundamentals of a relationship. Navigating through a relationship or navigating through the journey of life comes with sacrifices. If you want your relationship to stay the test of time, you have to cultivate the habit of sacrificing.
Okay.
And the sacrifices that we've enumerated might help you.
But some
somehow.
sacrifices are very difficult.
Very much. Yeah, very much. Very much so. And that is why they also put a clause to it that you sacrificing shouldn't get to that point where you would neglect your own self as well. You sacrifice, but then you have to keep up with your desires as well. You see, you have to keep them up. Because some people might think, oh, let me do all the house chores, let me clean the house, and then they even forget to even bathe, excuse me to say. So then it becomes like every time you see this lady or this man in the house,
he's unkempt.
He's very much unkempt. I recall my next door neighbor who I live with. Someone came there to look for him, and he didn't realize it was him. He was so. Can you go and call your master for me? Because he's always working. He's always cleaning the house. He's always doing that. You see, so that is not sacrifice. I mean, it is, but then it is not what it really means. You need to also hold on to certain aspects that will keep you going. And then there should be a balance when it comes to sacrifice. You see, you don't need to, one side shouldn't seem to be being marginalized. I mean, being overstretched. At least if your husband is doing sacrifice A for you, try as much as possible to also do sacrifice B, so that at least it becomes a balance.
So, okay, so with what you said, gives me another question to ask. What are the roles, like what role does forgiveness play when it comes to sacrifices, to feel like when you feel that upon your sacrifices, you are not being appreciated, like it's unreciprocal, sort of.
Yeah, there is this reciprocity when it comes to sacrifices in marriage. There is. And then two, if gratification or gratitude, being grateful for whatever service falls under the ambience of emotional sacrifices, your question falls under that category. You see, if as I used my own self as an example, if your wife is ill, not terminally, but at least even the slight ill, and she couldn't even go to work, and you are able to, you're doing your own job, so you are able to sit by her bedside and nurture her, help her in taking her drugs and all. I think it's an emotional sort of sacrifice.
Yes, you're giving her the emotional support.
You see, it is welcome in marriages. It gives the woman the trust, brings the bond between the two of you.
In sickness and in health, that's what you guys said.
Wonderful. So it's part of sacrificing, as you said. Apart from the emotional aspect of it, we have also the financial that we've already discussed. You get me? So it's very important. If my spouse is able to tell me, oh, sorry for staying out late last night, it's also good. If you are able to go out of your ego, your pride, and you really accept your mistakes. You tell your spouse that, look, I'm sorry for shouting out loud the other time to you. It's all part of it. It falls within the emotional ambience. All right. So these are points that we need to cultivate when we are dealing with emotional sacrificing. You see. And then the last one I would add is if you are able to be forgiven, sorry. If you are able to forgive your spouse when he offends you, then you are on track. Some people would be the most difficult and the most incorrigible, use all the words. They know what they are doing is wrong, but they will still do it, and they will never budge. They have that kind of.
Is it a spirit of ego and pride?
Well, stubbornness, I would say, but then it doesn't work in relationships, you know.
So what are the how can we inculcate this sense of support and sacrifices in the current youth? How can we cultivate this into that?
Yes, that's a broad topic here. We only pray that our mothers and fathers at home, those who have kids, would go back to learn or to instill in their youth, in their children, what they were taught. Because I believe very much that today's parents were yesterday's kids. And yesterday's kids, we knew their mothers and their fathers. They were upright. I'm not saying today's parents aren't upright, but then they were much more disciplined. And they were ready to crack the whip. So they said, teach the child where to go. And when he grows up,
he will not depart.
He will never depart from it. If we are able to bring that kind of tutorials or that kind of traditional cultural beliefs back into our households, and then we nurture our kids based on how we were brought up, just opposing it with today's AI and whatever. I mean, blending it. I'm not saying let's be rigid, because they might crack. It will be very good. In that case, if I say, why am I saying that would be very good? Because everything stems from the family. Our lifestyle, everything we go out there to do begins from the family. If the family is well nurtured, and if I say that, if father and mother are in cohesion, if they are in agreement, if they are in support of each other, they can be able to do a very good job on their offspring. And that transcends into society. Because when the offspring goes out, he knows or she knows exactly how to behave, what to do, and all that. You can take it, she's going into marriage. She's not going there to disgrace you. He's definitely going to do what you've taught him. So if parental control and guidance breaks down, then we are doomed as a nation. Then we are doomed, because it might hurt the system so much.
So what are some of the ways that one can celebrate the sacrifices that the spouse has done in acknowledgement, sort of something?
Wonderful. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
What are some of the ways that one can celebrate or acknowledge the sacrifices that the other partner has done for their marriage?
All right. Thank you. You see, the word thank you, gratitude, it's so splendid. I mean, it unnerves so much. It opens doors. Just saying thank you to your spouse or your partner is even enough. You see, I recall some time back, a friend of mine told me a story that he had taken care of a street boy up to university level. After he had graduated, the guy relocated back to his village and never came back. He didn't even tell him he wouldn't come back. That's a form of ingratitude. That shouldn't be a normal practice for anything when it comes to, let alone talk about you and your spouse in the context of marriage. No, it shouldn't come in. How to appreciate your spouse in a relationship? There are so many ways. I've mentioned thank you already. The other one, you can even go ahead and buy a gift in appreciation for a very thoughtful gesture from your partner. These days, there are so many activities in town where we have the Valentine's Day, we have Christmas, we have Easter, whatever.
Birthdays.
Yes. Go ahead.
So buying of flowers.
Yes.
It's not expensive, Uncle.
Well, so your spouse is worth.
So must we think about the valuable things when it comes to showing appreciation, or a little Something small, maybe a bar of chocolate.
Not so. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, you don't need to spend so much to make your spouse happy if you really are in a healthy relationship. You see, the little things makes it worthwhile. I have seen couples who aren't financially endowed, but then they have the most peaceful of relationship. And that is a key. That's a key component of sacrificing between the both of them. I wouldn't say either the man or the woman, but then it's an understanding that they have built together. You remember when we go to the villages, we see our grandfathers and our grandmothers still living together as a couple. You get me? It's so beautiful. They go to the farms together. They eat, they come, they cook, they eat together, they carry the load. Unlike before, now the men also carry the loads, unlike the ladies.
You used to see a pregnant woman with a baby at the back and
recall
carrying.
that, yes.
I once saw that at Begro.
Yes.
And I started shouting on the man. And he was just having the cutlass on his shoulders. I was like, "You are me."
Yeah.
She's carrying a bowl
Yes.
filled with cassava
With a child at the back.
and had a protruding belly.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
And it was not just cassava, there was firewood too on top.
Yeah. That's the old system that I don't agree
No,
with.
most people still practice it. Because I saw this at Begro
Not too long ago.
during the lockdown.
I see.
I ran away from Greater Accra and I went to spend my lockdown at
I
Begro
see.
because Eastern Region was not part.
Well,
And I was close, very, very close to the footpath that leads to all the farms.
okay.
So going, you see the clemper
That's,
at the armpit of the woman
that's right.
going. And it's on a hill. Their farms are on the
Always
hills.
on the hill
Yes.
as well. Oh my
And then when they are coming, now you're like, see. So she has carried this thing to climb the hill, descend it, and the house is nowhere near.
Yes, very far away.
The house it is in Bagua proper.
I've seen it too.
It's bad.
I've seen it too.
It's bad.
I was in St. Peter's in Kwetia, and when it comes to the village life, I saw a lot.
Kwewun Kwetia.
Kwewun Kwetia, yes. So I know what I'm talking about. I understand you, and I really do appreciate what you saw and the feeling that you got. Yeah.
Oh yes, I've also seen. I once lived in Kwewu, so it is quite a normal norm for them. And then makodo sa mi amenswa. But see, she has a protruding belly.
That's true. Yeah.
And the baby too at the back is not sitting still.
No. Yeah. Women are strong. I mean, they are the backbone of every relationship. Trust me. You might think some men are just arrogant or bossy or
But
whatever.
you guys don't appreciate our efforts.
Some do, my dear. Some do.
Majority of you don't.
It depends. It depends.
Majority of the men.
Not in today's
don't.
relationship, you know.
Oh, today's era is far better than
That's what
the
I'm saying.
days of
So
old.
yes, so that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
civilization is
It's also part
helping out.
education. Yeah, education is also part of it. And you know, we are moving slowly from our traditions and cultural practices of old. We are blending them. I wouldn't ask anybody to throw them away entirely, but I would suggest probably we blend the two, and it will be perfect. Trust me, because it's an identity. You see, when I said Kwewun Kwetia, you could identify with what you said at Begro, what you saw at Begro.
Yes.
So it cuts across. It's our identity, but then it doesn't mean if it's part of the nuances that we don't need to feather it. We don't need to practice it. We have to try and blend it into societal norms, make it better.
So how can we find joy and purpose when it comes to sacrificing or making sacrifice for our marriages?
Yeah, you say joy in relationship can be also diverse. Having a lasting relationship, I mean, the longevity of any relationship brings about joy, if I should start with that. Because I, for one, have been in marriage almost
24 years?
24, getting to 25.
Wow.
And sometimes I sit back, reflect, and then ask myself, supposing I wasn't married, would I have been able to get this far? Would I even have a child? Or maybe I would have fathered about
20.
But my father did 11.
Yes, you taking after that, like you stepping into his footprints.
No, some of us, you see, that is not always the case. You know, you see, when you grow up in a very strict household, normally what happens is, when I say strict, I'm talking about a house where there is discipline, there is the awareness of respect and cordiality at the same time. And then there is the family bond as well. You grow up picking up the goods, the better doctrines. All right? I wouldn't want to be told the line of going into polygamy anywhere. No way. I wasn't going to marry 2 women, or I wouldn't dare.
No one wanted to be a polygamist, though. Circumstances makes you, if the first wife is not giving you the peace of mind, and you try cheating small, and you realize that the side chick is rather giving you the peace of mind.
Yeah, that's what they say now.
Yes.
They say side chick.
Side chick, yes.
Side chick. Really?
Yeah, chicks.
Side chicks. Okay. Wonderful. Hey, okay.
Side chicks.
Yeah.
We the Side Chicks Association of Ghana, we try to give you guys.
I see. I like the terminologies. Well,
we give you guys the peace of mind you want. What Mrs. has not been able to give you, we give you that.
Well, I've heard it in certain social platforms.
And then you see, to make you happy, we try making you our baby papas.
Really?
Yes.
But can't the wives give us the baby?
There are some women, after 2 babies, they are done. No.
Is it a choice, or is it something medical?
It is the choice of the man. Like, maybe the man wanted 4 or 5 kids, and the wife says, I have a boy and a girl, I am done. Nothing will change that narrative in her thoughts. But you want more, so you try going to your side chick to give you more side babies.
Oh.
Yes,
well,
it happens a lot.
Anyway, kids are a blessing, so.
And it's one of the sacrifices that you men do. By respecting your wives, you refuse to tell them.
This is
to hurt their emotions.
I think you're making a good point.
Yes, you don't want to hurt their emotions. But after you are gone, that you've joined your ancestors, that's when
the trouble starts.
I am his son, and I am his daughter.
But would you acknowledge that? Will the wives acknowledge the legitimacy of the children?
Not at the forefront. As time goes on.
I see.
That is, if you have taken your kids, your side kids, to see your family.
I saw.
How did your dad do his?
Wonderful. That's where I'm coming. I saw the rift, and then the posturing that went on when it came to my own personal family experience. You know, it got to a point he was being a bit authoritative, and that's how come he got his way. In today's terminologies or whatever, nobody would accept that.
Say so.
Yes. No. Why am I saying this? I am saying he was going to father children outside of wedlock or marriage, and then he's going to bring the child to you, to their child.
You know, there are some women who love being stepmothers. I, for one.
Really?
Yes. My grandmother took care of her stepkids, and you know, see the difference between my mom's siblings and their step. So in my house, we don't have the word step. They'll ask you to go and bring the steps that is between the 2 of you and start climbing it.
Have you seen the scenario where you don't want it, you don't like it, but then the man wouldn't give you that opportunity to drive them away?
It's a love me, love my dog affair. if you just put yourself in the person's shoes, that if you were to come into the marriage with kids, will the man accept them? It's reciprocal. There are a lot of women. I also know a lady who took care of both her children and that of her stepkids. Aside my grandmother, and a lot happens. Especially we in Henan Crown for now. We guys, we love doing that. We'll take care of our husband's kids alongside ours, and we even treat the step ones better than
With
ours.
some, yeah. Okay.
Just a handful of them are wicked.
Well, there are
Yes, but
exceptions.
most stepmothers that I have come across are
Yeah, sweet.
very superb.
I had 6 stepmothers. So I am an expert in when it comes to yes, 6.
6.
Yeah.
Well, and then
Well, then I think that's another story. Sometime we'll discuss that. But that's okay. You wouldn't say they were evil or bad or whatever.
But you know, some of these baby mothers, we Side Chicks Association of Ghana, when we become baby mothers, we give you headache.
Seriously. And that is why I'm saying, I for one wouldn't opt for that for now.
But if you have thought of it, like by now you may have like 4
baby mamas.
No, see, you can set one side chick down. You incubate for me.
My goodness, is that surrogacy or what?
No, this one is not surrogacy.
It's direct.
Direct.
Okay.
Do it for me, and then you give me 2.
Do we have ladies who would accept that easily without remuneration?
Koto Range Rover, na piso bi don nyamawa.
And I'm making sure our purpose for doing that. You get me? If maybe she has to go into agreement, I'm not ready to build a house in Trasaco for you. I don't have the financial.
You cut your quote according to your size, Uncle Leoko.
I see. Okay. It's good I'm listening today.
So it's a huge sacrifice.
It's a sacrifice, yeah.
Some of the women too will tell you, okay, so since I'm not being able to add up to the first one that we have,
children,
why don't you look elsewhere so that
I've heard all these.
Yes, it's common.
Okay.
Why don't you look elsewhere, bring the child, and I'll train up the child to be mine? It's a huge sacrifice that most women do.
Okay, I will ask you a question, even though you are the host. Then I'm going to ask you.
Now we just have to switch the seats.
You see, in the context of what we just discussed, the church frowns upon that.
Why will you let the church know?
Wonderful. I thought we were basing our argument on the doctrines of religion, the church. And especially
we
the
are
Anglican.
we are talking about sacrifices in marriage.
And it could be
it's between you and your spouse.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I am a mother of one.
Yeah.
And I want to add up. I really
want to add up. Supposing your husband is not ready to add up, then you go for a baby papa.
That one dear is critical.
well, that's it.
But there are a whole lot of sacrifices going on.
I've heard you. I've really heard.
We have this saying that only mothers know the true fathers of their children. I may not tell my husband about it. I may do it secretly, and I'll come and dump it.
We've heard a couple of that. I mean, these days it's all over the news.
So
heard about Roger Federer and all.
It's quite common. So how can we balance this personal growth and individuality and sacrifices when it comes to marriage?
Well, you see, it all comes back to the meaning of sacrifices. See, sacrifice is a selfless thing. It is a choice. It is something that you do because you want to do it. So supposing you have to blend it with all these problems that we discussing, you want to blend it with your relationship. I mean, you want to blend it with society and the way they perceive of it. First of all, it becomes a prerogative. I mean, it becomes your own mindset. And if you are able to discuss it fully or share it fully with your spouse, and there comes to an agreement, thereby come to an agreement, then I think it can be blended in. You can easily blend it in here. We can use examples, as you just said. You've been in a relationship for over 20 years and there are no issues, and your wife wants a baby, or you also want a child. Medically, there might be a problem with either the man or the woman, or even the both of you. You can sit down, communicate properly, discuss it, and then come to a point where you might go for donor, whatever.
To do surrogacy?
To do a surrogacy. You might go ahead medically if it's proven, and then it brings harmony back to you.
But it's expensive.
Well, the financial aspect comes in when you are discussing. You both know how much each one is going to throw in. I don't normally think about the financial expenditure when it comes to sacrificing the both of you. Even though, yes, we are all trying, we are all surviving. If we are able to, as you said, you cut your coat according to your size. If we are able to agree that we have to go into surrogacy or in vitro fertilization, IVF, we should work together to make it possible. So I think it's in order, if only there is good communication, rapport between the two of you. Anything is possible. If there is that understanding, the trust, the respect. You see, you said something earlier on while we're digressing a bit, that some men would only go out with their side chicks, and when they have kids, they would hide it from their wives just for peace sake. And until they die, before you see the children coming to cry over the dead body. You know. It's a normal practice. I've seen a lot. But invariably, the woman gets hurt. Even though you're dead, some of them cry and then start insulting the dead body because of that, because you haven't been truthful to her. You get me? It becomes a hurt that she carries forever till she also passes. So I believe in any case, if you are able to dialogue properly and there becomes that understanding, then you don't have a problem to a load to carry. You see.
So what are the way we can navigate our sacrifices to the extended family, and then, if possible, to our in-laws?
Wonderful.
Yes. How can we navigate that one?
This is also part of sacrifice. It's part of the rules of sacrifices in relationship. If you think you are in a relationship so you have nothing to do with my set of family members or your set of family members, then it's a no-no. I mean, it's a panacea for trouble. I recall one of the social platforms, we had a discussion quite recently, and it came back to such a topic. You see, you would have to sacrifice for the relationship that you are in, but then it behoves on the both of you to come to an equilibrium, an understanding that, look, just as you brought in the nephew and nieces thing, you see, you have to be understanding that, look, we plan together. We are going to bring Mamiesi because Mamiesi is so brilliant. Even though Mamiesi is part of the extended family. She's so brilliant. This girl has a bright future, but her parents are dead, or her parents don't have the financial capacity. So let's bring Mamiesi to join Belinda and Kwame in the house. So at least they can have some coercion, If your wife or if your spouse agrees to that, and it shouldn't be one way. If you took that mamiesi from my side of the line, the next time she also says, look, I want to go and bring Kwame because Kwame's father and mother also passed. And you can't tell her no.
Because you have a member of your family living with her.
Thank you. That is where the tranquility should start from. You see, there should be that balance. But trust me, bringing in or balancing the act of extended family care and inclusion is very delicate. And it's one of the main purposes of sacrifices in any relationship. It's part of it. You have to inculcate it. Yeah.
Please, we are almost done with our program. What is your final prediction, submission to the current generation and then the upcoming ones on when it comes to sacrifices and marriage?
Well, okay. In conclusion, I think from my own experience, I would just say to them that they shouldn't always attribute what they see in the Western world, okay? What they see on TVs and telenovelas and that. They shouldn't think they are normal. They are more enlightened, or they give you much knowledge about relationships than what practically and physically they see at their various homes with their fathers, their mothers, their grandfathers, and all that. Mm-hmm. You see, there were times that I used to tell my little girl that, look, these telenovelas that you're watching are not real. They are being acted in studios and sets. You can watch every bit of it, every category of it. When you come into the real world and you also have your family, you have your husband.
It's a different thing.
It's a different thing entirely. And if you try to blend the two, that is where you start having issues. So yes, I would advise them to limit the telenovelas, limit the perceived. They think it's much more exposure. Exposure is good. I'm not saying it's not good, but that doesn't give you that exposure that you need to traverse the journey of marriage. Marriage involves a lot. It involves a lot of work, nurturing, prayer, and respect. So I'll tell them, well, sacrificing is part of marriage. They should learn the habit of being able to be submissive. They should learn the habit of being able to be respectful. The habit of being, they should cultivate the habit of praying. Not everyone is a Christian. Not everyone is a Muslim. But whatever you believe in, we all believe in one God. Try as much as possible to commune with your God. Ask for guidance, wisdom. That would enable you, that would carry you into the journey of life. I am not an expert when it comes to marriage, and I haven't been. I don't think so. We are all learning. Each day is a learning process. We pray for our kids to be even better than us. In as much as we do so, we still have to nurture them. We have to guide them to know what is good and what is bad, especially when it comes to relationships. And as I said initially, the family is the nucleus of the society. If we can't nurture the family, we can't grow the family as the Lord God wants it to be, then out there it becomes chaotic. Then in the end, we'll all be shouting at ourselves out in the street. We'll be killing ourselves and all that. You see. So I only pray for them. I wish them well. And God bless them.
God bless you too. Thank you for coming. And thank you for watching Family Life on Adwa TV. The topic was sacrifices in marriage, and my guest today was Parker Clifford William. Is it?
That's right.
Yes.
Thank you.
And he is the CEO for Tyke Logistics, and he is also the member of the Men Fellowship of the Anglican Church at St. George's Garrisons at Birmingham. Sacrifices in marriage is a normal thing. It is bound to happen. Like Uncle said, when it comes, you just have to adjust, learn, and move on. My name is Naa Oforiwaa Pels. You can also call me Yohefia Hengo. My beautiful fabric was by Trent Fashion at Kaneshi, in the same building with Kaneshi Guest House, opposite the Takrade Lorry Station in Accra. When you go, Monica will do justice to you. My many thanks for watching and making a date. Same time next week. Next week, yes, we shall meet. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.